Welcome, everyone, to the Believe in Bengal podcast with Solomon Wilcots. And right now, we're joined by the Director of Player Personnel for the Cincinnati Bengals, the one and only Duke Tobin, joining us on the podcast today. Duke, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Life is good. Take an exhale right now a little bit.
That's right. Now, hey, look, we got to ask, what do you do now that the draft is over? We're going to get to it here in a minute, but what do you do now? What's next on the agenda?
Well, here's the sweatshirt I'm wearing, Solly.
There you go. That says it all. And hopefully I'll be able to join you over at Coldstream for a round of golf. Good place to be, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and dive into this draft. You guys take 8 players, and by all accounts, it looks to be a very good selection, particularly the process. Just back up for a minute and talk about philosophically how you guys wanted to approach this year's draft and what you wanted to accomplish.
Well, we want to take players that fit our culture, number one, and we believe will be positive members of our football team, both on and off the field. So we always take that into consideration, and so that is something that we're always mindful of. And then we obviously have needs and opportunities at different positions, but at the same time, you don't want to jump down a level to take somebody at a position that might be a perceived need when you have somebody of a much higher caliber staring you in the face. So we want to be mindful of our grades as we go through the draft. We want to be mindful of value as we go through the draft. And we have targeted guys like a lot of teams have, but you've got to be flexible enough to take guys in the appropriate spots as the draft unfolds.
That's right. Look, you guys go with Myles Murphy, talented edge rusher from the University of Clemson with the 28th overall pick. It was your first round pick in this year's draft. It seemed like he's like all the other guys in this year's draft, speed personified, right? 4.51 in the 40. This guy can go. What did you see in him, and tell us more about him?
A young guy with rare traits and fantastic character. And as you told us before the first round kicked off that we were going to end up with him, we would have said, heck yeah, let's move on. Not a guy that we thought would be there for us, just the way the board fell, and he was there. So we were really happy that he lasted to us, and it was a good feeling in our draft room when a premium player at a premium position is staring at you at 28, you move on pretty quick.
How difficult is it when you're picking near the bottom of the first round? It usually means you had a successful season, but do you kind of have to allow the board to kind of fall to you, not get overly antsy, to go up and try to get the guy you want? Do you kind of have to remain open with filling a need as well as taking best player available?
Yeah, normally in the bottom of the first round, you have a wider pool of players that are worth that. So you can choose your positions maybe a little more readily than in the top 5, where there's only a few guys that really warrant that pick. So you do have that, staring you in the face. You're like, well, we can kind of go positionally. But when a guy that you have very high on your board slips all the way down to you, it really doesn't matter what the position is. You're going to take the premium guy. But we ranked 1 through 28 on our board, so we're prepared to go. It wasn't a year where we were looking to give up draft to move up. We wanted guys and we wanted all of our mid to late round picks. We didn't want to give those away because we know what we can find there is going to be guys that can help us win a championship. And 2, we do have to fill in certain needs.
I think 2 of the more critical areas after securing a quarterback, 2 of the most critical areas to have to rebuild the offensive line, for one, because it takes a number of different people. It takes talent, but also chemistry of guys working together. You seem to have done that over the last couple of years. But the same could be said for the secondary. A number of different players having to communicate, play together. So how challenging was it to have to try to rebuild your secondary this offseason after losing 3 of your 4 starters in free agency?
The challenge continues, and we bring in guys that we think have the traits to play effective football for us. But now the real work begins, and having those 4, 5, 6 guys be able to play in unison, and for everybody to trust that people are performing the roles that they should. We've got great leadership still in that group, and we think we've got the talent to really emerge as really a good secondary. You want to rush and you want to cover on defense. That's what you have to do to win in this league. And offensively, you got to protect your quarterback. You got to be able to run the football a little bit. You got to be able to make big plays. And so those things are always on our mind as we're going through the draft.
So you go second round, you take the cornerback DJ Turner from Michigan, and then Jordan Battle, the safety from Alabama. Both are athletic, and obviously DJ Turner, 4.2 in the 40. That's speed, that's unheard of at that position. Why don't you tell us more about him and the versatility I know that Lou Anarumo was always looking for on the back end? What are some of the traits they bring to the table specifically?
DJ's got really good feet, change of direction, ability to mirror, ability to run long. You want to have recovery speed if you make a mistake. If he makes a mistake, he's got the recovery speed. He's got good ball skills. He's an intelligent football player. The things that we're going to do with him as he gets in, he'll be able to fill a couple different roles. We envision him playing outside mostly, but he could really develop inside too if that need arises. So he's got that inside-outside versatility, and he'll be coming in and continuing to gain strength. The one thing he needs to do is play with a little more strength at the catch point, and I think we can give that to him. You look for the traits that you can't give to somebody as when you're talking about the draft, and then when there are things that you can give them a little more strength, a little more bulk, then you feel good about it. But he can really cover, he can really run, and he's a great football character.
How about Jordan Battle, who started over 40 games playing for Nick Saban at the University of Alabama? Player at that position, you and I both know Nick is going to have his hands on them very closely, and they're going to have to be smart and great communicators as well, right?
I think Nick has come out and said just how much he meant to their football team. I know he expressed that to us when we were through visiting with him on the scouting trail about how important and how intelligent a football player that this is, and that's a key to that position. You have to be able to be right, and you have to be able to direct others to be right, and then you have to have some versatility, which he does. He can play in the deep, he can play at the line of scrimmage, he can blitz, he's got great anticipation. So we're pretty much a ready-made football player that has a lot of different versatility pieces that can come into our defense and fill in where needed.
Probably a luxury to still have him lurking around in the third round. Many teams had almost
just
a second round grade on him.
He just stood out on our board as hey, look at me, I'm way up here.
That's right.
Nobody else is up here. Look at me. And we looked at him, and so it was good. And there's a need there, for safety, and so we were happy to get him, and it was a good feeling at the end of that day for sure.
Yeah, it's certainly a selection that has excited a lot of Bengals fans. Just talk to me about your 5th round pick, the running back Chase Brown out of the University of Illinois. This guy's a different kind of player, different kind of running back from what we're accustomed to seeing on a Bengals offense. And it's not like he's coming here to replace anyone, but he could be a huge addition to give you a great variety in the offense.
Yeah, a guy that has great lateral quickness, but he can really get downhill in a hurry. We like that about his running style. Tremendous character, outstanding intelligence. The things that backs have to learn in our league almost universally is pass protection, identifying the correct assignment, and then going and doing it. So those are things young backs have to learn. So he'll be in that learning mode there, gaining a comfort, with the other players on the field that, hey, I know what I'm doing. But as a ball carrier, he's explosive. He's got a lot of explosive plays in college. Obviously, a lot of production, and you can throw him the football, and he's pretty good there too. So, we thought it was a great value when we were going, and it'd be a great addition to our running back room.
Yeah, Chase Brown stands out as a smaller guy, but with great balance, great pass catching ability, and he can tote the rock. 1,600 yards rushing, fourth most in the country 1 year ago. So there's a guy that can get a lot of work done. Tell us about your fourth and sixth round pick, the two wide receivers, one from Purdue, one from Princeton, but both equally productive.
Yeah, well, we like production, and we like guys that are versatile, and really, when you look at Charlie, that's what he is. He can play inside and outside. He can be a feature because he showed that he could be the feature guy at Purdue. He's an outstanding route runner with balance and body control. Very natural hands catcher. We think he'll be able to separate if he's playing inside, and he's still got the speed to threaten on the outside. He's great with the ball in the air, being able to go up and compete for it. And then he adds the versatility on special teams, which we were looking for. Our wideouts have to do that. So there's a vision for him there as well. And so we like the total package that we were getting there. But he's really quick, and he's a great route runner.
You have to go back, 14 years ago since you last took a punter in the draft in Kevin Huber, and it turned out to be a good selection. Tell us why the selection of Brad Robbins, the punter out of the University of Michigan. What caught your eye about him?
Well, one thing we were able to do is secure an extra pick, and just by moving down, a few spots there in the third round, we secured that 8th draft pick. And with that in mind, if there's an opportunity to take a specialist and add competition in that room, we wanted to do that, and we think competition will bring out the best in both the punters we have on our roster, and it'll be fun to see them compete. But he's an accomplished player, a very experienced player. He's been a very good holder, for their All-American kicker, and we just like the total package and of what he brings and the competition level he's gonna bring to us, and it'll be fun to watch those punters go at it this summer and this fall.
I love when you talked about providing something for players that maybe you can't teach them, right? Either they have to bring that to the table because there are some of those skills. Speed is one of those traits that you can't teach them. That's right. How important was that to you amongst the players? Because I went back and checked them. Your receivers, the defensive backs, the edge rushers, they can all flat out fly. How important was that in many of the selections?
It's a big trait. You want the traits that you can't give them, and our Princeton guy Andre, he's 6'3" and he runs 4.4, and he's got production, and he's got character, and he's got body control, and he's got good hands, and that's somebody that we can develop. We can work with that, because he brings that to the table to start. He's going to have a transition. He's coming from Princeton. Yeah. Well coached though by Bob Surace, and well prepared, but there's a transition from Princeton to the NFL, and we'll help him through that part of it. But he brings a lot of physical traits, as does DJ Ivy. DJ's played a lot of ball at a high level down in Miami, and he's got the traits. Really impressed with him at his pro day, and then we brought him into Cincinnati to get to know him a little bit. And was really impressed with him there too, non-combine. So we wanted to take a chance to get to know him a little more, and so the more you get to know these guys, the more you kind of like them, and the more you target them in the later rounds, and you visualize a role. And those guys late in the draft, they're going to have to find a role for Darren Simmons, and if they're fast, they got a better chance of doing it than if they're slow.
Well, hey, look, I think all we have to do is look to last year when we saw Mr. Irrelevant, a 7th round pick, the last player to go in last year's draft, end up winning 5 straight games for the 49ers at quarterback and taking them all the way to the NFC Championship game. So every single pick does matter, right, Duke?
we grind on those last picks as much as we grind on the first one, and
Yeah.
perhaps even more. Perhaps even more. But we're grinding to find the right guy. The pyramid is big down there. There's a lot of guys
That's
to
right.
choose from, so you really have to grind to find the ones that are right for you and can fit a role you have envisioned for them. So it's a grind down through there, and we don't take any of those picks.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us on the Believe in Bingo podcast. You're one of the best in the business at what you do. Keep up the good work. We look forward to catching up with you before we get to training camp. In the meantime, I'll see you on the golf course, okay?
I love it, Solly. Love it.
All right.
Appreciate the
Take
kind
care.
words. See you
All
guys.
righty. All the best.